This week, we take a look at emergency volunteers, making Harrisonburg a little safer. And we travel to our nation's capital to take a look at drug testing and the controversy that surrounds it. These stories and more coming up. From the Television Production Center on the campus of James Madison University, this is JMU Today.
Hello and welcome to JMU Today. I'm Gay Taylor.
And I'm Rick Berry. Thank you very much for joining us.
James Madison University's Catholic Campus Ministry Group is legally battling the City of Harrisonburg Zoning Board of Appeals. Bishop Walter F. Sullivan of the Catholic Diocese of Richmond is suing the Zoning Board on an issue concerning religious discrimination. In the spring of 1987, the Catholic Center, directed by Father William Lafrada, requested permission to add a 200-seat room expansion to the center, located on Maplehurst Avenue. This request was denied by the board because the expansion infringes on the designated residential area.
Many residents argue that this proposed addition would be promoting a non-profit organization instead of a church. Bishop Sullivan and Father Lafrada argued that the decision is equivalent to religious discrimination and that the definition of a church organization was made by the board after the lawsuit was filed. Circuit Court Judge Porter Graves is expected to reach his decision within the upcoming month. With the election only a few days away, both candidates are hitting hard with last-minute campaigning, still trying to persuade voters to elect them on November 8th. Several polls, including the Washington Post ABC News poll, clearly indicate that Bush still has a decisive double-digit edge over Dukakis, although that lead is shrinking. Dukakis recently appeared on ABC's Nightline, where he stated that he would keep fighting hard until the end. Dukakis has declared that he is indeed a liberal, in the vein of JFK and FDR. He also challenged Bush to an election eve debate, although Bush has declined the invitation. At JMU, both college Democrats and college Republicans recently held rallies to encourage student participation in the election. JMU will hold a mock election on November 3rd at the campus center from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and all students are encouraged to participate in the voting.
The Crisis Pregnancy Center, which is located on Wolf Street in Harrisonburg, provides many services to young females facing an unwanted pregnancy. Among these is a confidential counseling service which gives pregnant females information about pregnancy, abortion, and adoption. Such information helps each individual decide what the best solution is for herself. If abortion is a young girl's choice, the center also provides counseling to help her through post-abortion traumas. Other services the center provides are free pregnancy tests, referrals for adoption, baby furnishings, and clothing for baby and mother. By day, the Harrisonburg Rescue Squad are individually dedicated in their education and their careers. But by night, the 30-member team joins together. Tracy Neal has this report.
Nearly 12 times a day, rescue vehicles roll out of Harrisonburg's 4 emergency stations, all armed with oxygen tanks, splints, and a dedicated team of volunteer rescue workers. The 30-member squad includes volunteer farmers, business and retired people, and students, whose 500 hours of training is put to use every time they respond to a call. Much like in larger cities, the squad responds to a variety of emergencies like chemical spills and fires, and is responsible for the care of a patient until they reach the hospital. Responding to calls became more efficient with the recent establishment of the E911 system. With the new 3-digit system, all emergency calls from the city and surrounding counties are routed through a central dispatcher. When a call comes in, the phone number, address, and name of the caller appears on a computer screen, which keeps a record of each call. And since all county residents don't have numbered street addresses, the information is automatically transformed into a map grid color. Dispatchers then use that color to guide them to the exact location of the call. Squad members say that the system is an improvement, but that a lack of public awareness is limiting its success.
It really isn't present in too many people's mind that if there is an emergency to call 911, because the old system has been in operation for so long. I expect it in a year or two to come that the system will increase efficiency.
Along with the new response system, squad members say that they're well equipped and ready to respond to the most serious of accidents.
When you get into a real bad wreck situation where the car is distorted, then one of the tools that we often go for is the jaws. A door on a vehicle, like like this little slot here, I could get a start in that, open it up a couple inches, get close to the actual latch, and just pop the door right open.
The Jaws of Life are one of many tools available to the staff, and although all members are non-paid, the operation of equipment, ambulances, and providing medical care itself takes hours of training and years of dedication. Lucky for the Valley, these residents have committed to just that. Tracy Neal, JMU Today, Harrisonburg.
Rick, there are a lot of students enrolled at JMU that are also involved in many of these rescue programs throughout the city of Harrisonburg.
I have a couple of friends that are on the rescue squad, and a couple of them are spending a lot of time commuting between Northern Virginia and JMU trying to get their paramedic certification.
Well, we'll be right back in just a few moments with a look at health and vitamins, so stay with us.
You know, we're not saying don't watch the Washington news programs. They do a good job of covering the region. But they don't have the time or the resources to give Fairfax County the attention it deserves. We do. You know, there are only so many stories about Prince George's County and the district that Fairfax residents can watch before they want to know what's happening where I live. And that's where Channel 8 comes in.
The Fairfax Evening Report. We put Fairfax first.
It's a new season, and Channel 8 is coming at you. Join us as we gear up for a new season of hard-hitting, action-packed college football with the University of Virginia Cavaliers and the University of Tennessee Volunteers. Both teams look to be strong for the 1988-89 season with high aspirations for bowl bids. So catch the University of Virginia Coaches Show with George Welsh, Wednesdays at 11:30 p.m., and the University of Tennessee Football Show with Johnny Majors, Fridays at 11 p.m. on Fairfax's own Channel 8.
Top event saves you time.
Good morning, Vietnam! Wow! I feel good.
In 1965, Adrian Cronauer was sent to do the impossible. His mission, to build morale.
Where are you from? I'm from Cleveland, man. Obviously, Vietnam's not that much of a change for you.
Touchstone Pictures presents Robin Williams as Airman Adrian Cronauer.
Call 263-1988 to rent this top event.
It should come as no surprise to most JMU students that we do not treat our bodies the way we should. Field producer Kathleen Franklin reports on nutrition and vitamins.
Most of us, well-balanced meals can provide all the nutrients we need. The trouble is that most of us, especially college students, don't eat well-balanced meals day in and day out. The pressures of time lead us to catch meals whenever possible. Often, these meals don't have the nutrients we need in our diet. Michelle Garand, the nutritionist at JMU, talks about the lack of balance in students' diets.
I don't think enough college students pay good attention to their diet to get a good balance of nutrients. I think they tend to eat, from what I see here in the dining hall, tend to eat pretty similar foods every day. Salad every day for lunch, burger every night for dinner, that kind of thing.
The body needs vitamins to aid in tissue growth and repair. According to Dr. Patricia Brevard, Associate Professor of Nutrition at JMU, each vitamin has a distinct function.
There are many, many functions that the vitamins have, and we have 4 fat-soluble vitamins and 8 water-soluble vitamins. Of all of those vitamins, each one has specific functions in the body. It does specific jobs.
All the essential vitamins can be found in the foods we eat.
Most of the green leafy vegetables are good sources of a lot of the major nutrients. Fruits and vegetables are good sources of B and C. The dairy products are good sources of vitamins D and E.
Without these vitamins, deficiencies can develop over time. Taking vitamin supplements is not always the answer to these deficiencies. An excess of certain vitamins can actually impair the absorption of others, creating deficiencies in the body.
I'm not real keen on supplementation, and especially if students are taking vitamin supplements, they shouldn't be focusing in on any one nutrient. They shouldn't be taking B supplements or, vitamin E supplements, because the nutrients all work together. They all balance each other out in the diet.
If a person is healthy And if a person will take a little time to look at their diet and do a fairly good job at making sure they are eating a balanced diet, then the average person really does not need a vitamin supplement.
By paying attention to our diets, most of us can get all the nutrients we need without the use of vitamin and mineral supplements. Good nutrition really is the key to maintaining good health. For JMU Today, I'm Kathleen Franklin.
The Center for Innovative Technology brings revenue into Virginia by allowing corporations such as AT&T and IBM to sponsor research at colleges and universities. Field producer Rhonda Lennon has more.
This is a model of the building that will hold the administration and some research facilities for the Center for Innovative Technology. The Center, or CIT, was designed to create technology that would stimulate Virginia's economy, says Public Relations Coordinator Bill Brobst.
The research that we fund, and it's been about $6 million a year in recent years, goes into the universities. Okay? It's something they have and continue to hold a certain capability. It's hard to put a value on that, but we think even that is a good investment because, again, it's in the state, it's helping industry.
There are 3 categories of programs at CIT. The first is researching and developing new technologies. The second is informing businesses of what new technologies may be beneficial to them. And the third is helping small businesses utilize technologies. The key to development is research in areas such as satellites, computers, and biotechnologies. The program allows businesses to sponsor research at 12 state colleges and universities. There are 10 transfer centers based in community colleges, and 7 universities and colleges have technology centers. An accurate evaluation of the center's success will take time.
Research can take a long time for it to develop into a commercial product. It could be a year, it could be 5 years, it could be 50 years.
There is still controversy as to whether CIT is meeting its goals. Skeptics point to the center's high turnover rate of presidents to show the center's instability. Supporters, however, claim it is too early to measure results. For JMU Today, I'm Rhonda Lennon.
With the Center for Innovative Technology up in Northern Virginia and the Center for Entrepreneurship here at JMU, it seems that Virginia on the whole is trying to raise its profile as an education and research state.
Virginia is definitely becoming more high-tech. For example, NASA has prompted their new Space Research Center just in Western Virginia.
We'll be right back after this with a look at drug testing, so please stay with us.
Instead of predictable primetime programming,
some 89 hostages are being held.
Instead of make-believe heroes,
this is the moment that we've been waiting for.
Instead of the same old primetime song and dance.
Farewell to the United States.
Switch to CNN's Prime News with Mary Alice Williams, Bernard Shaw, and Lou Waters. Live every weeknight at 8 Eastern. CNN's Prime News. Instead.
For the widest variety of quality entertainment, stay tuned to the A&E Cable Network.
Welcome to the world of advertising. The product, a candidate. The goal, an election. The strategy, to do anything to get ahead of the game. A&E's all-new DramaWorks presents Campaign, where principles mean nothing and winning means all.
Saturdays.
Philosophy for mysticism, self being a relationship of itself to itself? Come on!
Well, if we're to exclude Kierkegaard, then we have to exclude Nietzsche, Heidegger, and virtually the entire 20th century. What's left? David Hume?
But you don't have to be cynical about it.
Face the biggest test of their life after they graduate, the pre-employment drug test. Richard Berry uncovered some of the problems with drug testing in his report.
On September 15, 1986, President Reagan signed Executive Order 12,564,
directed at creating a drug-free workplace on the federal level by enforcing mandatory drug testing. This was an attempt by the administration to start fighting America's drug problems on the demand side in unison with the nation's efforts to decrease supply. Our drug problem has been of great national interest in light of the increase in drug-related deaths in news, most notably in athletics. However, mandatory drug testing creates a vast amount of legal problems which are being contested in courts across the nation. Drug testing is done primarily by three methods. The first is thin-layer chromatography, a process by which several drugs can be screened at once. The second is radioimmunoassay, which uses radioactive iodine to find specific drugs. Related to RIA is enzyme multiplied immunoassay test, which is another method to find specific drugs in a urine sample. If a person subjected to these screening analyses tests positive, a confirming test is performed, usually a gas chromatography or mass spectrometry test, which is more complex and precise. The tests are anywhere from 98 to 100% accurate. By 1990, it is estimated that the drug testing industry will have annual income of $175 million. One of the problems inherent in the test is that they're not completely accurate. What happens if a person tests positive for drug use but has never touched them? A person that eats poppy seed bagels, for instance, could test positive for heroin. A person could lose their job and have their lives destroyed based on that fact. Other problems are also involved with drug testing. For example, a person who smokes marijuana on a vacation will still test positive for pot many weeks later. This has no direct effect on job performance, and many people claim they should not be penalized. Perhaps the most important claim is that mandatory tests could also violate our Fourth Amendment rights protecting us from illegal search and seizure, as well as violating our rights to privacy. Federal and state court systems across the country have continually considered urinalysis as a part of Fourth Amendment search and seizure. Civil liberties organizations, including the ACLU, claim that general searches of innocent people are unfair and unreasonable. We asked Arthur Spitzer, member of the ACLU's Washington, D.C. chapter, about the union's arguments against mandatory drug testing.
And the real motivation of it, as far as we can see, is a law enforcement motivation. Drug use is illegal. Everyone says drug use is a big problem in the country, and so we're going to do our part as unofficial deputy district attorneys to ferret out drug use in the United States. And we don't think that is a legitimate business of an employer. Safety is a legitimate concern of an employer.
What do you think will happen in the future with drug testing litigation?
Society always wants to have a quick fix solution for whatever they perceive as the immediate problem, and often there are not quick fix solutions available. But throwing out the Constitution every time you perceive a problem that needs to be solved is, in our view, the wrong solution.
The testing programs of the NCAA are currently cast in doubt in light of a recent California ruling that says the NCAA plan is an unconstitutional invasion of privacy. Also, the NFL has announced that players will be tested for steroid use beginning in the 1989 season. Drug abuse is becoming a huge problem in this country. 30% of Fortune 500 companies have programs. But conflicts will arise as the 40 million casual drug users in this country start to face the pressure of mandatory testing for drugs, and in some places for AIDS. Only time will tell how far and wide the effects of drug testing will be, and if it will help curb the nation's drug problem. At the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C., I'm Richard Berry for JMU Today.
Rick, I understand there's still quite a few problems with this drug testing. For example, they can't accurately predict how an individual is going to do on the job.
You're right. A drug test cannot tell whether or not a person comes into work under the influence of drugs, and that can be a big safety concern.
Well, we'll be back in just a few moments with Nicole Duskin, sports, and a look at the JMU Dukes football team, so stay with us.
I'm Steve Smith, and welcome to Alumni Update. It's that time of year again when alumni and their families return to JMU. Homecoming 88 promises to be one of the biggest events on the campus of James Madison University this year. The week is full of activities, including concerts, movies, alumni receptions, athletic contests, and much, much more. Here's some of the homecoming highlights.
The highlight of the week leading up to homecoming is the traditional Homecoming Review on Thursday, November 3rd in Wilson Hall. And the weekend gets off to an exciting start on Friday with an alumni cocktail reception and disco dance. Before the football team takes on Georgia Southern Saturday afternoon, there will be an alumni tailgate party on Godwin Field, followed by the presentation of this year's alumni awards. From 4:30 to 7 p.m. that evening, there will be an alumni cocktail reception, and then at 8 o'clock, it's Gallagher in concert at the Convocation Center, a truly unique comedian.
You want that cheeseburger to go?
For more information on homecoming, please contact the Alumni Office, Inez Roop House, JMU, Harrisonburg, Virginia, 703 JMU 6234. We'd like to encourage all alumni to return for homecoming to reacquaint themselves with old friends and new developments that are taking place here at JMU. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
And now we have Nicole Deskins joining us with sports. And Nicole, now that JMU's hired one of the most successful basketball coaches in history, how do you think our team's going to look this season?
Gay Lefty brings 26 years of college coaching experience to JMU. He's built top-ranked programs wherever he's gone, so he can only bring success to JMU. October 15, 1988 was the start of a new era of basketball at James Madison. 300 fans, mostly JMU students who stayed here during fall break, were on hand to watch the first official practice of the year at 12:01 a.m. Coach Lefty Driesell held a midnight practice at the Convocation Center, which was really a media showcase. ESPN featured a report from the Convo following their Sports Center show, and Coach Driesell talked live via satellite to WUSA Channel 9 sportscaster Glenn Brenner during his 11 o'clock report. The James Madison Duke Club was there to hand out T-shirts and other JMU Lefty souvenirs. The NCAA rules clearly state that official practices cannot begin until the 15th of October, and JMU held one of the first practices in the country. If all of the enthusiasm at this practice is any indication, the Electric Zoo could very well return to the Convocation Center for the 1988-89 season. And the JMU men's soccer team lost its best opportunity to clinch the Athletic Colonial Association title when they dropped a 3-0 decision to the William & Mary Tribe. The Dukes are now 13-3-3 overall going into this afternoon's game at VCU, and they will end their regular season this Saturday at homecoming starting at 7 in the evening. The women's field hockey team beat Radford last week 2-0, but dropped 2 big games at home. They lost to top-ranked Old Dominion 11-0 and to 11th-ranked Penn State in a 4-0 shutout. The ladies will advance to the South Atlantic Conference Championships in Richmond this weekend with an overall record of 9-11-1 and a conference record of 6-1. And the JMU football team was off to a bad start this season, but they have recently been improving their record. Tracy Jones and Jordan Hood tell us a little more.
When it rains, it pours, a popular saying describing momentum. Momentum is the key word in understanding the JMU football team. Despite getting off to a slow start, the Dukes have won their last 3 games, compiling a 4-3 record. If rain describes momentum, then it's definitely pouring on Godwin Field at James Madison. The Dukes are in search of finding the perfect combination of talent to spark their wing T offense. Coach Joe Przicki has tried 2 different quarterbacks in Roger Waters and Greg Lancaster. Waters, who started the Dukes' first 4 games, is known for having an explosive arm. He can launch the ball at least 50 yards, and his passes are bullet fast. Lancaster, on the other hand, is not as strong, but is very consistent. His knack for reading defenses and pickpocketing defensive backs has led the Dukes to a perfect 3-0 record since becoming Przicki's starter against Liberty. One of the Dukes' favorite targets is tight end Walt Fry. Although Fry wears number 83 for the Dukes, his magic number is 45. In the first game of the season at Navy, Fry caught 2 45-yard passes from quarterback Roger Waters. While versatile at running the short yardage routes, Fry has proven that he can also be a deep threat for the Dukes.
While most of the excitement is generated by the offensive players, Coach Przicki and the JMU football fans know that much of the Dukes' success lies in the defense. The Dukes have no one superstar on defense, yet they field a unit comprised of outstanding athletes whose dedication to fundamentals and team play enables them to make great plays on a consistent basis. The defense, as does the whole team, rallies around senior captain Dan Cabasco at middle linebacker. Cabasco seems to have a sixth sense about anticipating offenses and often shows up at the right place at the right time. Despite being injured early in the season, Cabasco has come on strong for the Dukes and has provided the leadership necessary to pull the team together. Another gifted athlete in the defensive unit is Steve Bates at right tackle, number 89. Bates' play has helped establish that no-gain reputation of the JMU defensive line and is a key player in terms of quarterback sacks.
With the help of the fans and such celebrities as Duke Dog, the JMU football team hopes to reign as one of the top Division I AA schools in the East. And just remember, when it rains, it pours. For JMU Today Sports, I'm Tracy Jones.
And I'm Jordan Hood.
Okay, and Richard, that's all I have in sports today.
Nicole, it seems like the Dukes face quite a challenge this weekend for homecoming.
They do, Gay. We had a little bit of trouble with Towson last week, but I think that we can face up to the challenge of Georgia Southern this week. It's going to be a good one.
Halloween is a time of year that can bring out the kid in all of us. We took a look at what some trick-or-treaters were doing in Halloween in the Harrisonburg area.
You are a bold and courageous person, afraid of nothing. High on a hilltop near your home, there stands a dilapidated old mansion. Some say the place is haunted, but you don't believe in such myths. One dark and stormy night, a light appears in the topmost window in the tower of the old house. You decide to investigate, and you never return.
Well, that about wraps it up for this week's show.
Thank you very much for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.
Have a good week. Bye-bye.
So long.